Bishop Barron of Word on Fire on YouTube has just released a video lamenting the rise of the nuns. In other words, the people who don't have any religious belief or don't subscribe to any particular established religion, which is effectively the same thing. So the points he raises that apparently, basically, it's a criticism of the nuns. You know, why shouldn't you be a nun? The first one he cites is haste. That I think the argument is basically that having religion gives your life purpose. It gives your life meaning, so that you should have something to fight for. That having a supernatural belief, an understanding of the transcendent, means that you have purpose to your life. Well, all you need to do is talk to most atheists, and you'll find out that they have a very, very well established purpose for their life, that they develop a purpose for themselves. And this is actually a strength, because it means you have the choice about choosing what you want your life to be about. With religion, the choice isn't yours. You're told what your purpose is. And it's part of the dogma, it's part of the doctrine of the church to tell you what the purpose of existence is. Well, there is no purpose that is given to you in a rationalist point of view. So with rationalists, the purpose of life is literally what you wanted to make it to be, because there is no objective purpose. There is no divine being telling you what is or isn't the purpose. So that you have to actually be an adult and find out for yourself and determine what you want your life to be about. And that doesn't necessarily have to come from, in fact, it can't come from what you might consider facts. So what gives meaning to life? Well, each of us has our own story when it comes to this. My own story, I realized when I was reasonably young, about 13, that things like money, just money, isn't enough. But the point of just getting a job, getting educated, getting a job, getting married, settling down, having kids, all of that thing, that's simply what society tells us we have to do. And I realized at this age that this is just what I was being told, that I didn't have to accept it if I didn't want to, that I actually had a choice about what I wanted to do with my life. It was that choice which really made a difference for me, because I realized that I could literally make it about anything I wanted. And then you've got a choice. Are you going to make your life about accumulating as much money as you can and living as well as you can and being as rich as possible? I mean, that's a pretty empty objective, really, isn't it? It's not the kind of thing you would choose for yourself. If you're asked, what your legacy was, that you collected a whole lot of money. I mean, I think this is the kind of thing you see with Bill Gates at the moment. I mean, his legacy is now more about the Gates Foundation. The fact that he questionably derived his fortune from Microsoft, that really wasn't a legacy that you can point to as being a particularly good one. It's certainly a bit self-serving. So the fact that he's doing something better with his money, that he's actually doing something to social good, that's actually laudable, and that's the kind of vision I had for myself. Not the rich part, but the doing good part. So that's basically the decision I made, that I wanted to be good, and I didn't exactly know what that meant at the time. I didn't really understand how, at the time, someone so young could really have any kind of influence on the world. I didn't know how I was going to be good, how I was going to help the world. But the fundamental philosophy was there. The fundamental intent was there. That I wanted to live a life that was in service of humanity. And it is kind of speciesist, and I admit that. I kind of believe in humanity. I don't believe it's necessarily good. Hell no. I mean, you could argue that we don't really deserve what we have. We don't really deserve to be successful and to survive because, well, just look at what we've done to the planet. I can't really make the argument that we are deserving at all, but we are here, and our choice is really to exist or not to exist. And I think we are worthwhile. You know, for all of our faults, we're the only life form we know that could potentially get off this rock, and I think that's a big deal. I think all of our sins will be forgiven, if you don't mind the pun. If we get off Earth and spread life to the rest of the universe, I think whatever sins against the environment we do here on Earth are probably going to be forgotten. So I think there's a huge potential for humans and for whatever comes after us. The real question is whether we will survive. And I think the more people who really believe in humanity, and that's really what humanism is about, a belief in the ability of humans to cope and to survive and to treat each other well, which I think is all tied up together. Then from these things we have the potential to survive. But the things that are going to kill us, ignorance, magical thinking, intolerance, hatred, warfare, there's no future in these things. We need to reinvent ourselves as a species. We need to move past our genetic programming, which makes us predisposed to these things. We need to get past that and